Dear students, I'd like to tell you about the concept of, you know, checking your negative perception. What do you mean by checking negative perception? There's sometimes whenever you see a thing, you tend to see it in a negative way. If you see the glass of water, you've heard that concept long back in psychology, that there's a glass of water having half water. Some people are saying that it has got water half, and somebody is saying it's half empty. So it is considered that if you are referring to the emptiness, you are negative. When you're talking about the fill portion, you're positive. Similarly, when you unnecessarily color negative colors in the stories, then you make it negative. That is unfortunate. For example, if you see an accident, because it is not just an accident, right? So you are not getting to see how many people are injured, what is the condition. You have to imagine. And if you imagine too much, that many people have died, others are seriously wounded, he's trying to help, they are not able to be collected. So what are you doing? You are actually becoming negative in your thought perception. When you have the freedom of thinking, why do you want to go into so many negative shades? Why don't you want to write natural and genuinely what is there? In most of the accidents, whenever you are nearby, and the initial stage, okay, there may be one person who must have met a casualty in case a dead body is being shown. But in case it is not being shown, how can you presume that he is already dead? Why can't you make some, there is a, what do we call that, heavenly time, you call that golden period. Golden period is always there when a person is injured, and from his injury to 1 hour, 2 hours, that's the golden period. That is the time when if you give him the right help, he survives, yes or no, and recovers. But certain time when you imagine that there is no golden period also, there is no survivor, then you are making it negative and that becomes sad. So please try to think positive. I'll give you more examples in it, but you have to think positive, and I'll elaborate after a small tip which I've already given to you, so that you can understand that negativity, by the way you perceive thing, the way you add it up becomes bad. And if you add it up in a positive, light manner as a solution finder, it will be okay. So that is it. Let me elaborate further. The elaboration further I would like to say is that when we talk about in the negative aspects, when we see that, for example, there's uh, a person is dead, and you're just making him that he was a new officer and he died, and then people are crying. So what are you doing? You're describing a negative situation. Who told you that it is a new officer, or was it a terrorist, or was it a soldier, or was it an accident, or where somebody saved? So unnecessarily creating stories about extreme martyr, sadness. What are you doing? You're creating a negative impression, and that won't sound good. That will go against your thought perception, because actually if one has to think, like all the boys and girls sitting here, what are you really here? You're thinking that you will positively get selected in the army, you'll serve in the army, you'll become an officer, and you'll do very well in life, then you'll retire, then you'll settle down. Am I right? You're not planning that you're going tomorrow and day after tomorrow you'll have a tragedy. Don't you think that while crossing the road you'll have a tragedy? All these kind of negative thought process is a hindrance. It is an obstacle. It is a handicap, and that is very, very sad for all whoever is really understanding it. So one thing which we want is that please do not think negative. Try to think positive. Of course, it's a negative situation. It may be a problematic situation, but then that's okay. It can be light ups and downs. Am I right? Now somebody is seeing a paper and he is thinking that his marks have gone very, very down. Why is he thinking so? Either he's a negative character himself or herself. So anybody who thinks too much on negative side is a person who's pessimistic, and pessimistic persons are not good leaders. So armed forces certainly not liking to have these pessimistic leaders joining the gang, and they would not like it. Not for the sure. Not for sure. That is one thing which is very much required. I would also advise all of you that if you have somebody in your family, people talking very negative, I think you should leave the company of that person, because the negative people are unfortunately too cunning, too negative, or they may be double standard. They will be talking negative for you but talking positive for themselves. So this is something which you got to understand. So you got to understand the hypocrisy. You got to understand that negative people are curse to the society and a difficulty for everyone. Is it clear? So all of you will understand this point very clearly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.